on the far right. CJ Spiller, running backs coach, will be on the bench. Kyle Richardson, tight ends coach, backing coordinator will be on the bench. We'll have them for about 30 minutes.
All right, whenever you guys are ready for Coach Spiller.
How y'all doing this morning? Bright and early. Like you supposed to been had got a workout in, ate your breakfast and everything, and get ready to get your day started.
This is the Army commercial. We do more before 9 o'clock.
Oh, I got you.
That's you.
Yeah. Everybody doing good today?
Yes, sir. Doing well. How you feeling?
Doing good. How you doing, Michael? Robert?
How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
You can read this now.
I can read y'all. Well, they made y'all get name tags on. I've known Larry forever, so I know him. Everybody waiting on Gary.
All right now.
Everybody waiting on him.
I don't want the phone to ring on. What's that?
Robert. Mr. Hood, how you doing? I'm doing good this morning. Everything well? Baby boy doing good?
What's your name? Where you? Tiger.
Oh, it's gonna be pretty easy then.
Probably the biggest difference is
Got Watch 5, Watch Fox 5, 51, 57.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Amanda Poole. I'm new.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, CJ. Now is that here? That's
In Columbia.
In Columbia?
Yep.
Okay.
one double A. You're chasing.
So you had the father's drive then, not everybody.
Yeah, I crashed here last
Oh, you
night,
crashed here?
so
Smart.
that's okay.
Smart.
So it's a long process.
CJ, how do you feel about your room this year? You got to feel a little bit better.
Oh, I feel great. Them guys, I was able to have a strong year last year. I was able to battle through a lot of stuff, from injuries and all that standpoint. And, but at the end of the year, they was able to put it all together and put their best footing forward, I guess you could say, in the bowl game. And, so it's a lot to build on. It's a lot to learn from. So them guys, I gave them a little assignment to do at the end of the year once they was able to kind of get some rest, recovery, reset, and then actually, once they got back into it, before we started spring ball, they had kind of some stuff that I advised them that they probably should do as a player to try to help their game.
You got a couple guys who were there this spring, went back from injuries. Those guys.
Yeah, everybody's back healthy. Everybody's ready to rock and roll. So those guys are excited. They had a very strong summer. So I think they kind of just excited just to get back started. It's an exciting time of the year right now because football is right around the corner. So they're just trying to finish this strength and conditioning on a high note. Have a few days to kind of reset, and then it's time to rock and roll. And I'm excited to get on the grass with them and kind of see the hard work that they've been putting in.
CJ, after the first year with the group, what did you go into this first year last year want to accomplish? What at the end of the year, the three of them combined, what did they do to impress you and meet your goal?
That's a great question. I really just wanted to accomplish trust, honestly. There wasn't huge high expectations of such a young group, but I wanted them to be confident in their ability. I wanted them to know that they can play on this level. But the biggest thing for me was just getting that trust, because I didn't recruit any of those guys in the room. Obviously, I followed their careers in high school and obviously their recruiting process, but I didn't have a chance to sit down in their living rooms and try to recruit them. So going into it, I just wanted to just build that trust with them. And it was a two-way street, and it took some time. And I think as the season went on, it got better and better. And I think now we're in a good spot from a trust factor. And those guys understand that I'm here to help them to be better as a young man, and then as a football player. So I think if we can continue to to build on that, I think we'll be in a good spot.
CJ, going into your second year, you ran a versus last year being first time and this coming season? What's the difference?
Well, the biggest difference is that, we got a different offensive coordinator. So that's going to be, adjustment. But, we had a strong relationship or a strong building, a bond for the bowl game. So we kind of got that familiar. And then really just understanding the offense a whole lot better. Last year it was, trying to just learn the offense and, get the terminology down, understand the blocking scheme, understanding what people are doing, understanding the concepts, because it was new. It was different from, what I was accustomed to playing in and being around. So this year just it's a lot more familiarity with just the terminology.
What did you learn about yourself through last year?
What I learned about myself, really just trusting my instincts, honestly. I really had to rely on that and really just trying to do it my way, I guess you can say. And, sometimes once you get into, coaching, what I learned early is that you can kind of try to start doing it other people's way and try to mimic what they was doing, and it kind of get you off who you really are and not being authentic. So that took probably about, 2 or 3 weeks for me to adjust from that. And then once I did that and realized, hey man, I can just only do it my way. I can only be who I am. I can't be somebody else, I guess you could say. Once I did that, then I kind of settled in and really just picked up.
Coach Elliott just kind of let you go, right? You appreciated that?
Yeah, I did. And I think that was huge because he really wanted me to get my feet wet and really understand it. But at the same time, he was great if I ever had a question or if I didn't understand something. He was always a great listening ear and always very helpful for that. And really, he made that transition very smooth for me. And he built a lot of confidence in me and myself by just letting me have the room for myself instead of being together as the initial plan was to be.
Did you even know what your way was going into last year?
Well, I knew that, that I wasn't going to be a yeller because I didn't like that as a player. I thought, coaches that done all the yelling, they just done that for whatever reasons, for attention or whatever the case may be. But, so I knew going into it that I wasn't going to be a big yeller, but I knew how to get my point across. But there was still a lot that I didn't know going into it, just because it was new. It was first time, and so it was totally different than the players. So that's where a veteran staff like Coach Elliott, like Coach Roger Caldwell, like Coach Street, and Grisham, who had already been through the process, those guys came in and were very helpful to make that transition smooth.
You spoke about veteran coaches. What was it like to platoon those guys and to get them used to the platooning and then dealing with the injuries that you get preparing the other guys to pick up the slack?
Yeah, it was different. Anytime you have injuries in your room, it definitely hampers, but that also allows somebody else to pick up their game and to step up and showcase what they can do. It sucked that, some of your best players, get injured because I ain't gonna say at a disadvantage, but you ain't at your full arsenal, I guess you can say. But those guys fought through it, and we always talk about it. Well, I always stress to those guys anyway, is that you always want to play away from being the starter. So you better prepare like you're the starter because at the end of the day, they're not going to cancel the game. They're still going to kick it off, and you got to be ready to go out there and execute. And for us in our room is that the standard doesn't change no matter who's back there in the backfield. It still remains the same. So when Shipley went down, they gave Kobe opportunity, and then when he got nicked up, they gave my man Phil an opportunity. And those guys, they was prepared for it, and they went out there and they showcased what they could do.
What do you expect to see from Keith this year with such a talented group of players?
I think he's great for our room. He comes in, wide open, eager to learn, very hungry. I think he's going to add some competition. Just a kid that's self-motivated, so it doesn't take a lot to motivate him. So I'm excited to get to work with him. And he's a great kid off the field, so that makes the fit even better in our room. And he's coming in there asking all the right questions. He's want to know from those older guys, which only been in the system. Kobe's the oldest in there now. With Phil and Will. They've only been there 2 years, but he's asking all the right questions, and those guys doing a great job of taking him up under their wing. And as a coach, you kind of sit back and you try to watch that stuff, because I know as a player, I know how it was coming in as a freshman. You know, who's going to take who up under the wing, kind of show them a way, because it's new. They're away from home for the first time. They're having to go through strength training, having to adjust to college life. You know, so you want to have somebody veteran that's going to take you up under that wing and kind of show you the way to try to make that transition as smooth as possible.
Will came in here last year and he was already one of the leaders
Yeah.
of the team. What do you see different this year, leadership-wise?
I mean, Will just picking up where he left off, honestly. I mean, he's very vocal. He came in with that. This is a kid that knows what he want to do in life, and he has his goals that he want to accomplish, and he doesn't get distracted from those. So, but at the same time, he does a great job of elevating his teammates' play, and that's what you want as a player. You know, can you elevate everybody else's play up to where your play is? And he does a great job of doing that. I mean, if you ever had a chance to watch him run ring sprints, I don't think he'd have lost one yet. He's always in the front. I mean, the kid has a very natural leadership skill.
One of the biggest areas that you have to train a high school running back in college is pass pro. And during spring game, Malcolm was picking up blitz packages and giving those guys a hard time. How easy was it for him to pick that up? Was that something you guys worked on over the spring?
Yeah, we just talked about it. I mean, the biggest thing is just knowing the identification. If you know who you're blocking, and then that make the job easy. But then just knowing, what type of rusher are the guy. That's the second biggest part of it is, is this guy a bull rusher? Is he a jump around guy? So if you know that before the guy blitzes, then you can kind of have your game plan in your hand to be able to counter what he's doing. So we did a good job, in the spring, trying to study guys of what type of rusher they were, and then just understanding where the blitz was coming from. And I think he did a great job of learning that.
Coach, with Shipley and Pace, how are they 100%? Can you take us through what they've been through?
Well, I don't want to get into that to percentage. I mean, they'll be ready for fall camp. I just know they'll be ready.
Still with him really for 7 years because we go to FCA.
You see their roles. You got 3 good guys. How do you, in your mind, how are you dividing that up?
I mean, me and the coaches, we do a great job of keeping count of all the reps. So I have a chart which I know how many reps they take each practice, and then over the time I kind of look at and kind of see what the numbers are. If I feel like Shipley took a buttload, then I can kind of be able to let Colby or Marfa Man take some of the share off that. So I just have a system that that Coach Elliott provided for me that I kind of just go by. That's kind of how I just keep the reps of that. But like you said, it's 3 great guys, and there's only one of us can run out there, and all those guys, they understand that. So it's a great healthy competition in there, and all those guys prepare as if they are the one that's going to run out there first.
With Brandon running the offense now, what do you think we're going to see different in the running game from what we saw with each other?
To be determined. I can't be giving y'all the juice. The biggest thing is just everybody just getting on the same page. I think, obviously we know that, running the football is going to pay dividends, as you get later in the season. So, you want to try to establish that early. And, I think Coach Streeter, he understands that this is not his first rodeo calling plays. So, we had a great spring chemistry, just trying to get on the same page with everybody, making sure that we all speaking the same language. I think if we get that part right, then it make the transition smooth. But we're still gonna run the football. Like we said, we got 3 potential first or second rounders in the running back room that can go out and perform at a high level.
Yesterday, Will got named to the MAC squad.
He did?
And something about dealing with those kinds of awards and what to expect. How you tell him to handle all that notoriety he's going to get this year, just being named that.
How I tell him to handle that stuff? That's just somebody's opinion. You still have to go out and put in the hard work. And the good thing about Shipley is he understands that. I don't think he's a kid that kind of get caught up into that outside stuff. You know, what list he on, what list he's not, and you know, and that's why I come into play. I tell all those guys if you put in the hard work right now, and then once the season start, hey, you'll be right where you're supposed to be. But if you get caught up right now into if you're on the Doak Walker list or the Maxwell list and all these other lists, then you're getting distracted from the main goal, and that's to have a strong summer when you strengthen your conditioning. So, you know, he has a level head, he understands it, and you know, that just goes to credit to what type of player he is. You know, those people think that he's one of the best ones in the country, but he still has to go out there and perform at a high level, which I know he will. So, you know, but that's great for him. That's awesome. I'm happy for him because I know what type of guy he is. So I'm happy that they decide to recognize him.
High school camps have your guys out there running drills and somebody else will take charge of that sort of thing. What's that like watching those guys do that?
I mean, it just validation of that. You know, those guys understand the drills that we do in our room, and that they can go out and teach it. You know, and then it also helps me because now I'm able to kind of just float around and see different high schoolers instead of just staying at one station. That I trust those guys, and then you know, it just goes, like you said, it goes back to the trust factor. I know that when they talking about the drill, that they're not going to just be out there just talking about it just to try to go through the motions, that they actually know what they're talking about. They want these kids, they want those high schoolers to get better, and they're going to push them. So it was great to see. You know, all those guys did a great job. Anytime they can come out there and help, you know, during that time of the year is always awesome for us.
That knowledge they brought out there is something they picked up from you. That's validate you a little bit for what you taught them to watch them go out there and just mirror what you do.
Yeah, well, just let me know that they listening. That's for one. But you know, as far as validation, it just you know, I know those guys gets it, but you know, it's just great to know that they actually paying attention. And you know, like I always say, you never know if they're truly listening until you get into those type of settings. So to see that they actually listening, paying attention to the drills, that's huge.
CJ the football coach versus CJ the dad. Is the little one following in dad's footsteps?
The little one right now, man, you know what? He gonna have a good shot. You know, he already done picked up a couple offers. You know, so he already beat dad in that category. So we're gonna see if those committable offers, you know, in about 18 years. But now he's doing great. It's great to be back in that feeling again. I mean, it's been 16 years. My daughter's 16, so it's been a long time since I had to change some diapers. And, you know, but he's starting to come into his own personality. You know, he's kicking his feet. You know, and then Dad, he making sure that he's keeping that ball high and tight. You know, and you know, so we're working through the process of trying to get him to turn over all the way, and hopefully in a couple months we'll be crawling. And then once we start walking, we'll be running. So you know, I'm already preparing him for the training that lies ahead for him. You know, because I'm gonna ask him, do you want dad the trainer? Do you want coach the trainer? Or do you want the player, the thriller? Because there's a difference now. There's a difference between those three people. So it's gonna be very interesting to see which one he picked. So if he chooses the player, then it's, you know, I'll be older, but I'll still be ready to, you know, show him the ropes. I still got it.
Coach, what did you learn from Alpha Man in spring when it was all him?
I mean, I learned a lot. You know, he was very prepared, and he took advantage of the opportunity. And also, the thing about Phil is that, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all guys have had some encounter with him, that he doesn't talk much, but this spring he was very vocal from a leadership standpoint. And you know, and I told him, you know, you the alpha dog in here. That these young guys, that they're gonna follow your lead. So, and he took that challenge and he ran with it, and he was very vocal, very demanding of the standard that's set in our room. And those young guys, they followed that. So I was very pleased with that, and I think he kind of just really just set the foundation for his summer, because I mean, if y'all haven't seen him, he looks great. He's in a great spot. I mean, he's poised to have a big year, and you know, so we just got to continue to build on that. But just the vocal standpoint was what I really learned, because like I said, he doesn't say a ton, but I think this spring gave him opportunity to kind of really open up and really, I guess, bring his personality out, and he done a great job with that.
Things really changed for him fast last year. He went from probably being a red shirt to, as you say, the alpha dog of spring.
Yeah, it did. And honestly, when you really think about Phil, it was just, the situation with so many guys in there. But I just knew in my heart of hearts that, that this is a guy that can help us. I had to see his high school tape. I had a chance to spend some time with him and see him on the practice field. I just knew that, eventually he was going to be able to help us. I didn't know when that was going to come. And the thing about Phil is that he's very understanding. He's big in his faith, so he didn't get down on himself. And if he did a great job of just coming and talking and was able to talk through stuff. But I was very pleased for how he handled everything that took place.
CJ, what's the depth? And you've got some depth in this
it's always important to have depth because when you play this game, it's a violent game, and just like I said earlier, you always one player away from being a starter, and you want to make sure that you have depth at your position, and not only depth, but you want to make sure that these guys are prepared, because it's one thing to have depth, but if your guys are not prepared, then it means nothing. So we just try to do a good job in our room, making sure that we're prepared, so when our number is called, that we're able to go out there and play at a high level and there's not a drop-off.
Your growth, you're doing this now, this kind of chapter of your career. What are some of the ways you're better this year?
I just really this summer I really just spent some time just reflecting on ways I can be better, ways I can help my guys be better. That was going out, talking to other running back coaches, seeing how they do drills, see how they ran their meetings, how they handle their rotation. That's what I did. I think that's what you have to do as a coach. Is you have to go out and seek advice from other people that have done it a long time. And for me, I got some great NFL coaches that I was able to play up under that was very helpful, giving me some insight of how to handle certain situations and giving me drills that I think would be beneficial, because when it comes to drills, it's just you want to see your drills translate over to the game field. So I don't want to just be out there just doing backyard drills just to look good on Instagram. I want stuff that's going to translate over to the game field. So I was able to do that, and then really just continue to just be who I am. That's the only way that I know I can be successful, is being who I am and not trying to be someone else. But at the same time, taking advice from other veteran coaches that's been in this business a long time.
Back onto that depth, you said earlier, that was kind of forced on you last year due to injuries. You got into other big snaps. Now you got the luxury of having all three of those guys coached up. Now you're able to manage their snaps better.
Yeah, that's what we're just talking about. It's just, I do a great job. I have a rep chart, I guess you can call it. And I track all their reps that they do each day. So I kind of know how many reps each guy gets each practice. And, if I feel like one guy is getting more than the other, I know how to tailor that. So, I think that's the biggest thing that's been very helpful. That's kind of something that I done last year, so I can be able to manage their load, because, especially, once we get through the fall camp and get to the season, we want those guys to be as fresh as possible come Saturday. So I just try to do a good job of just managing them, and then at the same time I let them know that, hey, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And then, hey, if I decide to, hey, you're not going to take a big load today, that doesn't mean that you're getting an off day. It just means you're not going to take as many reps, but you still need to be in tune, mentally. And then when it is your time to go, you need to rock and roll. And that's just something that I learned from my running back coach, Tyrone Wheatley. He done that when I was in Buffalo. It was some days that I had a big load, and then there was some days that he tailored back, and then he talked to me about, hey, it's not an off day, it's still, you're getting your mental reps, I'm still put you in there, but then when it's time to go, I need you to go. So that's just one of those things I kind of just took from him and kind of just put in our room.
To that, this is the year you guys went through 2 back sets. Was that something you guys just had to break out and just learn it, put it in there? Was it something you guys already had to buy back earlier in the year?
No, I think it's something that was already in our offense, before I even got here, and then, we always practice, that stuff, because now, like you say, you got 3 great guys in there, so you want to try to find a way to utilize them and take advantage of them. And we had been practicing that stuff, and then we just felt like that particular game was the right time to pull it out and showcase it. And those guys did a great job of executing.
CJ, you mentioned coach. Do you think Tony Allen will be? Just haven't heard some things.
I couldn't hear you.
What kind of head coach do you think Tony Allen will be?
What type of head coach I think Coach Elliott is going to be? I think he's going to do a great job. Just his personality, then just the type of man that he is. He fits that Virginia mold perfectly, and I'm pretty sure all those kids got bought into what he's saying. So I'm excited to watch from afar, how his team goes out and play. But I think he's going to do a great job up there of leading them. he does a great job of getting his message across, very crystal clear. And then the thing with Coach Elliott, you know where you stand with him. There's no guessing. So I'm excited for him. I think he's going to have it's a great opportunity for him. I think he's poised to have a great year.
How much is your experience from your playing days when you had Reggie, you, and James on the same team and trying to use 3 backs at the same time and get them all enough touches?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely take me back to those days, and then I just try to, just talk to those guys about just taking advantage of the opportunity. We know, we're different than the receivers. Where they can run 2 or 3 guys out there, where we can only run 1. And then the biggest thing that I talk to them about, honestly, is just the jealousy. That's one thing that me, James, and Reggie, we did not allow creep up in our room, because if jealousy creep into our room, then it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a frustrating year for everybody. So they just got to have a great appreciation for each and every person's role in their play, and then just understand that everybody brings something totally different, to the table. And I think that's where me, James, and Reggie did a great job of understanding our playing style was totally different than each other. And we always rooted for each other. It didn't matter who got the credit. If one scored, we felt like everybody scored, because that's how it should be. So those guys, they understand that. And I mean, you got Shipley and Marfa, they roommates. So I mean, if you see one, you're pretty sure the other one's gonna be somewhere very close, just because of the bond that they got. And then the same thing with Kobe. I mean, those guys, they follow his lead. He's the OG, I guess you can say, in the room. So they follow his lead, and he's doing a great job of communicating and being vocal and taking that that bull by the horns and running with it. And so I'm excited to see how they continue to grow as a group and kind of sit back and watch their chemistry.
Hey CJ, when you are out there competing these days, how much of the talk from families, from family members, from players is about NIL and what's going to happen for them?
It's not about that. It's about, I used to watch you play when I was in high. I used to watch you play,
I watch you play too.
Yeah, so it's really not a ton of talk about NIL stuff, honestly. It's really just about these kids want to know, how can you help them? How will they fit into your system? What type of person are you? What type of coach are you? And stuff like that. So to me, I know I didn't get any NIL questions when I was out there. It was just more about me just trying to promote, who I was as a person, because everybody knows who I was as a player, and it just gave me an opportunity to really sit down and really explain who I was as a person, because everybody don't know that. They just only does see, what they seen on Saturdays on the game field. So that's kind of how I went about the spring. Yeah.
There's been something specifically targeted for him to kind of work on that, or?
Well, I mean, really the biggest way to help with that is just getting on the jug machine, and that's kind of was my advice for him. Is, hey man, well, really all of my guys in there, they need to be on the jug machine every day, honestly, catching at least 20 to 30 balls, and that's something that that I got from the legendary Ward Dunn, that helped me with my catching ability, and so it's something that I'm just trying to pass along to my guys. And then really the biggest thing when guys really drop balls, it has a lot to do with them taking their eyes off the ball and looking upfield first, and really just trying to tell them to just catch the ball, see it all the way through, and then just go from there. So I don't have any worries about Shipley catching the ball. I think he can catch the ball very well, and I think you just continue to build on it. Oh yeah, I mean all my running back coaches that I ever had the encounter with that had some type of influence, and I took something away. Coach Burns, he was a coach that, he always had his guys back. He didn't allow, I guess you can say, other coaches to try to run his room. So that's something that that I took from him, and the thing that he always showed us that he cared, and that showed through the way that we had conversations in our room, and it wasn't always about football. A lot of conversations was about life. Yeah, so and that's what I liked about him, you know. And he is what he is, you know. You didn't have to guess what type of player, coach or person Coach Burns was. You know, you stood with him, and, you know. So he knew how to, you know, get the best out of us, and you know, and then at the same time we trusted him because he had done it for a long time, and then he knew how to rally us to get us to go out and play hard.
All right, thank you, CJ. Coach Streeter will be coming to this middle station.
Thank y'all guys.
2:15.
Get started this week.